Welcome to the Young and the Restless Daily YAPP for a quick, and by that I mean you're already halfway done, recap of the most amazing or what the heck did we just watch moments on today's episode. Let's get to it. On the Young and the Restless, there's a mystery afoot, all right? Several of them, aside from figuring out who killed Damian. Not only does Chance not have jurisdiction to be doing a murder investigation in France, but now he's contaminating a crime scene, possibly witness tampering, and, at best, disturbing my peace. When Kane told Chance that he invited him to investigate his premeditated murder before it happened, what exactly did Chance do about it? One would think he'd have spent his time by reviewing Kane's existing security system, finding and meeting the staff, and/or walking the grounds and learning that there was a way in and out, unlike Kane told the rest of his guests. But unsurprisingly, and according to GCPD's finest, Chance has just been busy playing hacky-sack with Carter. Also, given where Damian was lying and the knife wound in his back, it wasn't that hard to deduce the direction from which it was hurled, one would think. But not for Chance. He asked Kane about the direction the knife came from, and then concurred he was probably right, but we're not sure why he bothered asking since he didn't look for the killer. Who? That's right, there's a killer at large, not that you would know it by anyone's reaction, because apparently, ensuring that everyone else Chance knows from Genoa City was safe, hunkered down somewhere safely, or even still alive is the furthest thing from Chance's mind. Want more details? We got you! Soap Central has the best full Y&R recaps on the internet. You can even go back over 30 years and read each and every one of them. If you can't wait until the next episode, we have daily spoilers too. And whatever you do this weekend, do not. Seriously, do not. Forget to read the 2 scoops for some laughs, in the as close as we can come to being a watching party without actually being a show. And the best part is if you agree or disagree, we want to know. As always, share your comments below. Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, Pulse Canvas. It's me, Julie here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Keep watching, so let's dive into today's video. Or are we all being played? On the July 15th episode of The Young and the Restless, Kane confided in Chance about Damian's murder. He is dead. So dead. So very, very dead. But is he? Is he really? We have questions. Damian ended up with a knife in his back. Kane told Chance that he needs to figure out who did it and why. Pronto! The cause of death sure seems to be the stabbing. But then, why was Damian complaining of dizziness beforehand? Why did he say he thought his drink had been poisoned? Were the two just a coincidence? Real life has coincidences. Fiction should not. What if Damian was poisoned? But what if it was one of those poisons like in Romeo and Juliet? The kind where you seem dead, but you really aren't. Even with a knife in your back, what if this is all a long setup? What if Kane drugged Damian so he could fake his death? Which gives us the who. The question remains, though, why? Kane was the one who brought Chance to France, predicting that he would soon be murdered. What if Kane wanted to prove he was right by faking Damian's death and claiming he was the real victim? This will make Chance take him seriously, and maybe inspire Lily's sympathy as well. Kane sure tried to convince Chance that's what happened on today's episode, didn't he? But what if this plot goes even deeper? What if Damian is in on it? What if the whole, "Oh no, I feel dizzy," was a performance for the eavesdropping Phyllis, so they'd have a gullible witness? The Young and the Restless spoilers suggest that while Nick Newman is far from frantic at the moment over Sharon Newman's whereabouts, if he can't find her or she goes missing, he could go into a panic. Nick is about to make a shocking discovery, so this could be a clue about his and Sharon's next storyline. During the Tuesday, July 15th episode, Nick ran into a very shaken Phyllis Summers, who had just run into Kane Ashby, holding Damian Kane's limp body as the man had just been stabbed. The outdoor maze leading up to Kane's summer estate is as creepy as it gets, so Phyllis was completely horrified to witness the scene she stumbled upon when she turned the corner. Nick was on his way to meet up with Sharon. However, he got lost in the maze, and then he got distracted by running into Phyllis. He eventually got even more distracted from his initial mission of meeting up with Sharon after learning about the scary events that took place on Kane's property. In fact, As the gurney rolled away with Damian, Nick caught a shocked Lily Winters, whose world had just flipped upside down. Nick will probably get preoccupied with the drama around Damian's demise, plus helping Phyllis and Lily digest what has happened. Once the craziness dies down, he may realize that he's forgotten all about Sharon. Back to Nick's shocking discovery, once he heads back on his merry little way, could he realize that Sharon is not at the place they were supposed to meet? Not back at their train cabin? Not anywhere, really. Could Nick end up finding a torn piece of her clothing behind? Maybe a piece of jewelry? Sharon has turned to getting kidnapped into a hobby, so it's always possible that the person who got rid of Damian has Sharon captive. Maybe Sharon saw too much. Maybe whoever is behind Damian's passing will take her to keep her quiet. The Young and the Restless spoilers imply that Sharon could wind up being at the wrong place at the wrong time, which could land her in yet another scary hostage situation. However, could this latest kidnapping be the very thing that finally triggers the romantic reunion and Team Schick is waiting for? In a shocking twist on The Young and the Restless, Damian, played by Jermaine Rivers, was both drugged and stabbed on Monday's episode. Now, Rivers is speaking out as he confirms that his time on Y&R has come to an end. Whew! What an episode! What an episode! Rivers began a social media post on Instagram. Yeah, that's what it is, at least for now. Damian Kane has met an untimely demise. While viewers learned today that Kane was drugged and stabbed, the previews that have Chance grimly investigating a crime supported the fact that Damian was indeed a goner. Rivers said he knew as early as April that his run in Genoa City was coming to a conclusion. Poor Damian died just as his romance with Lily was taking form. First off, I've got to say thank you to Josh Griffith, Rivers says of the show's executive producer head writer, for giving me this opportunity to bring Damian Kane to life. It has been an amazing ride. It'd been an honor to be a part of that cast, but to also bring a character like Damian to life for the last 7 to 8 months. Rivers says he enjoyed playing a multitude of emotions as he showed who Damian was and how his complex relationships with his mother, Amy, and half-brother Nate played out. Alas, Nate wasn't a part of the contingent that went to France. If he had, perhaps the ex-doctor might have saved his half-brother. Still, the two men shared some nice sentiments on Rivers' social post. "Brother, it was an honor and a pleasure to share the screen with you," Dominic wrote on Rivers' Instagram account. "You will definitely be missed, but I know you got 10 other projects already in the works, so keep going, brother. Looking forward to working together again." "Thanks, bro. It was an absolute pleasure and honor working with you as well." Rivers responded to his The Young and the Restless co-star, "Much love to you and the fam." Hi. "We got to go on a ride," Rivers continues, "and really play into these moments truthfully." The actor says that he has multiple objectives when he takes on a role. To be of service to the script, the devoted actor says, to the text that's actually written for the character and his relationships with other characters on the show, to not phone in anything, and to really engage and be honest, truthful, and make a genuine connection, bring out the best of that person that's in front of me. Rivers believes that it's the story that matters the most. "Because at the end of the day, guys, it's not about me," the actor muses. "It's not about one person on the show, it's about the collective. I'm just grateful to have been able to play a role on the show, to be a part of the cast, no matter how long or how brief it is." Rivers is also giving out a shout-out to his agent and Greg Salmon, casting director, Y&R. "Thank you," he says. "What's next for the actor?" Rivers shared, "There's a whole lot of stuff that has my name on it right now that I'm currently attached to, and I'm physically and mentally getting ready to do something super fun in the sci-fi genre." No matter what comes next, Rivers says his experience on The Young and the Restless won't be forgotten anytime soon. "I loved every minute of showing up to work, getting to play alongside some incredible, talented actors," he says. "To the fans, thank you for the fans who tuned in, who are always committed and invested in the storyline that's been played out day after day. I'm going to close this out with light, love, and gratitude in my heart. Till the next one. Peace and love." The Young and the Restless spoilers suggest that there is officially a murder mystery storyline unraveling, As Damian Kane was stabbed in the back during the Monday, July 14th episode, so could Amanda Sinclair be the culprit? Y&R fans found out a couple of weeks back that Kane Ashby had asked Chance Chancellor to attend his big summer party in Nice because he wanted him on hand to investigate someone targeting him. Chance stuck out like a sore thumb amongst Genoa City's elite at the shindig, but when Kane let it be known that he was concerned someone was trying to end his life, Chance agreed to help. Still, Chance was completely shocked during the Tuesday, July 15th episode when he realized that Kane was going to take him up on that offer. Damian met his demise after both he and Kane drank some tampered bourbon while having a chat somewhere within the maze. Both were woozy, but as Damian drank far more than Kane, he was worse off. As Damian passed out into Kane's arms, someone unknown threw a knife in the back of Damian, essentially offing him with one swift throw. Kane was completely caught off guard by the perfectly executed ambush, and Phyllis Summers landed in the wrong place at the wrong time when she turned the corner and saw Damian not moving in Kane's arms. Across the maze, Phyllis was shaken by the scene she stumbled upon and questioned Kane's motives. Across the maze, Amanda sauntered into the bar area in need of a stiff drink. She came across Lily Winters, and the two had an interesting conversation. Amanda seemed massively suspicious during the July 15th episode as she talked about how much Kane was still in love with Lily and how she helped him plan every party detail. With Lily in mind. To be honest, Amanda sounded resentful of Lily and her antics. After all, Lily threw her new relationship with Damian in Kane's face, and in many ways, some Y&R fans get the sense that Amanda has more than client-attorney feelings for her boss. Plus, she seems more than just Kane's lawyer. In many ways, she's his confidant. Could Amanda have unresolved feelings for the billionaire mogul? She obviously knows that Kane is still in love with Lily, but a lot of people fall in love with the wrong person. After all, the heart wants what it wants. With that said, it's been a hot minute since Amanda has been on canvas, and a lot can happen to turn soapy characters cray-cray. Fans were shocked to learn Amanda was working with Aristotle Dumas in the first place, so who's to say she hasn't had a trauma that has triggered her into a sociopath in the first place? She may have told Kane how she feels, only for him to turn her down. Kane does seem like a good person, so he may have pushed any awkwardness under the rug and carried on with Amanda as an employee and friend. But what if Amanda is bitter that Kane has never taken to her advances? Maybe she's still bitter towards Lily because of Devin Hamilton Winters' affair, and can't imagine why Kane is still taken with his ex-wife. In fact, stabbing Damian may not have been a part of Amanda's plan, but in some ways, knowing that it would hurt Lily in the long run may have given her a little satisfaction. Most viewers seem to believe that Kane's trusted assistant, Carter, is behind Damian's demise, but there's nothing Y&R loves more than a plot twist. The Young and the Restless spoilers remind fans that when it comes to whodunit storylines, it's always the last person anyone would suspect, and Amanda could be the culprit for a number of reasons, including her exclusive access to Kane's bourbon collection and knowing the maze like the back of her hand. Could Damian's death lead to another tragic loss? We're still reeling over Damian's death on The Young and the Restless. It's the one thing we didn't see coming on this trip to the French Riviera. Suddenly, this trip is gripped by darkness, but there was already something lurking around in the dark, and this person knifed Damian in the back. But we can't help but think what this could mean for Amy. It's kind of poetic. Damian and Kane didn't get along because they both wanted Lily. But prior to that, Damian didn't even know who Kane was. He assumed he was Aristotle Dumas. Now that the truth had come out, Damian wasn't sure if he could trust Kane. After all, he's hoping to rekindle with his ex-wife. Lily had already made her choice. She confessed to Damian that she's been wanting to kiss him for a while now. And then a kiss led to something more. The two had already consummated their relationship. The following day, he had a drink with Kane. He felt a little sick and dizzy. But then someone came out of the maze and stabbed Damian in the back. He met his demise. Damian never had a chance to connect with his mom, Amy. The two have just reconciled their fragile relationship. She's been battling cancer, which inspired her to reach out to her sons. Nate finally met his half-brother after several years, but now their family reunion is coming to an end. This could spell trouble for Amy. She might not take the news of Damian's death well. She didn't think the day she said goodbye to him would be the last day she saw them. This grief and trauma could cause a relapse in her cancer treatment. Nate could find himself saying goodbye to another loved one. Damian's death could have repercussions that will be felt all the way back in Genoa City. Could it be? Was it the butler in the pantry with a knife? The Young and the Restless has always been a masterclass in jaw-dropping twists, but one fan, Marvin Sanders, thinks they've cracked a storyline so wild it could send Genoa City into total chaos. Could it be true? Did the butler really try to poison Kane, only for Damian to take the deadly sip instead? Buckle up because this fan theory will have you clutching your pearls. Here's how Marvin's theory goes. Damian's shocking poisoning wasn't just an accident. The real target was Kane, and it all leads back to the one man nobody suspects. The butler. According to Sanders, this quiet servant has been harboring a deep resentment against Kane, not for anything Kane did, but for something Colin pulled back in the day. Apparently, Colin's messy past left the butler's family in ruins, and now the man in white gloves wants payback. Oh, and that knife? Well, why not take someone all the way out when you're already halfway there? Talk about a slow burn. But wait, there's more. Our dear fan is speculating that Colin isn't even dead. That's right. He's alive, lurking in the shadows, and letting even Kane believe he's 6 feet under. Why? Because Colin's dramatic flair couldn't resist one last game. In a delicious twist, some believe Colin will swoop in at the 11th hour to rescue Kane from murder charges, only to unleash even more chaos. If this theory proves true, it would be one of the boldest plays Y&R has pulled in years. The idea of the butler orchestrating an elaborate revenge scheme adds a layer of classic soap mystery we've been craving. Plus, bringing Colin back from the dead would send shockwaves through Genoa City. So, is this Marvin Sanders fan theory too outrageous to be real, or exactly the kind of shocking twist Y&R thrives on? We'll be watching every smirk, side-eye, and serving tray for clues. The Young and the Restless spoilers suggest that Damian Kane's murder will continue to rock storylines as Genoa City residents digest the fact that someone among them has been targeted during what should have been a fun time in France. As Lily Winters and Damian did the deed before he passed, could she end up having a lifelong reminder of her short but sweet romance with Nate Hastings' half-brother? The Young and the Restless spoilers remind fans that Lily's disdain for her ex, Kane Ashby, is sure to grow in the days and weeks to come, as he was the last one with Damian before he passed away. Someone placed something in their drinks to get them to feel lightheaded, and as Damian was stabbed under Kane's watch, Lily will be suspicious. Whether or not Kane had anything to do with Damian's demise is unknown, but it looks very sketchy, to say the least. Kane wants nothing more than to reunite with Lily, and Damian's passing will dampen all this. But how will the plot thicken if Lily finds out she's pregnant? The saddest part of Damian's demise is the fact that he had just reunited with his mom, Amy Lewis, after years of being estranged. If Lily were to get pregnant, the silver lining in all this is that Amy would still have a beautiful reminder of her son in the pitter-patter of her grandchild's little feet. Amy has been doing a lot better with her health, so she may also miraculously be healed by the time Lily announces her pregnancy and delivers. The baby news may also extend years on her life and possibly lessen the blow of her son's death. A baby would certainly help give Amy a reason to live. Still, a pregnancy would complicate a romantic reunion between Lily and Kane, or would it? There's little chance that Kane had anything to do with what happened to Damian, and the truth would eventually be revealed. But would Kane stand by Lily's side as she brought another man's child into this world? She did so, years ago when he cheated on her and Sam Ashby arrived on the scene, so only time would tell. Devin also has theories. The Young and the Restless spoilers for Wednesday, July 16th, prove that Chance isn't the only one who can investigate Damian's stabbing in France, as Nick jumps on the case and makes a discovery the professionals missed. Nick hasn't had much to do in France. He's been there to tell Victor how smart he is. He's been there to tell Nikki not to worry about Victoria and Claire. He's been there to grudgingly admit Adam is a good climber, to urge Sharon to eat more fruit, and to tell Phyllis she's acting crazy and making bad decisions. So, more or less the same things he does back in Genoa City. But now that Damian has been stabbed in the back, and not as a metaphor, Nick thinks he knows who done it. And most importantly, why. But Nick isn't the only one looking over the clues and coming to conclusions. Devin also wants to get into the act. He's been busier than Nick while in France. Devin has been busy telling Kane what a bad man he is, and telling Lily what a bad man Kane is, and telling Amanda how wrong she is to think that Kane isn't bad, and assuring Abby that Dominic will be fine back home. The kid has parents to spare. But now that Damian has been stabbed in the back, and not as a metaphor, Devin thinks he knows who done it. And, most importantly, why. Amanda doesn't care what Devin has to say, or Nick, for that matter. But she does care about what Kane has to say. She knows what he's done and how he's done it. But now he needs to tell her why. And the truth this time, Y&R has a major whodunit on its hands. The Young and the Restless recap for Tuesday, July 15th, featured shocking developments. As Phyllis stumbled upon Damian's body in the maze, Kane desperately tried to explain his innocence, and Lily's suspicions about her ex-husband's motives grew. Meanwhile, Chance found himself caught up in a crime investigation. Here's a breakdown of all the action. Phyllis walked into the maze and stumbled upon Damian doubled over in Kane's arms. He had a dagger lodged in his back, and despite their attempts to check for a pulse, it was clear that he was dead. Phyllis questioned if she should attempt CPR, but Kane told her it wouldn't help. As he paced, Kane explained that he hadn't stabbed Damian, and they had been drinking and talking when things took a sudden, violent turn. Phyllis wondered if the drink had been poisoned, but Kane denied it, stating that he'd been drinking the same thing. They realized that the dagger had been thrown from a distance, and neither of them had seen who was responsible. Kane was adamant that Damian had likely not been the intended victim, but he was the only one with a clear motive for the attack. Kane quickly left to find Chance, and on the train, Devin and Abby were having a drink and discussing how they had been trying to treat their stay like a vacation, though the novelty was wearing off. Chance had been hiking a lot, and the group discussed the lack of progress on the case. They speculated that Kane's newfound wealth might have made him paranoid. Devin and Abby tried to focus on the positives, like their upcoming return to their loved ones, but Chance was still busy trying to figure out what had happened to Damian. Phyllis and Kane rushed in, looking for Amanda, and Kane asked to speak with Chance privately. This left Abby and Devin wondering what had gone wrong. In the dining area, Lily confronted Amanda, questioning whether Kane had put Damian through the ringer over their relationship. Amanda assured Lily that Damian could handle himself, but the two debated Kane's motives. Lily admitted that she still had concerns about Kane's behavior and how he had been acting toward her. Amanda acknowledged that Kane was deeply in love with her and would go to great lengths to win her back. However, Lily insisted that she had moved on. She had found someone special in Damian, and the idea of returning to Kane was out of the question. Kane returned to the scene with Chance, showing him Damian's body and pointing out that the dagger was missing. He recounted how they had been drinking and discussing Lily when they both started to feel woozy, and suddenly, Damian had been stabbed. Kane was certain that the attack was meant for him, not Damian. Chance, still skeptical, questioned whether they had been poisoned or if the alcohol had simply made them dizzy. Kane insisted that no one had had access to the drink except them, and they both agreed that the dagger must have been removed by the killer. They speculated that whoever had thrown it had returned to take it, but Chance needed more evidence. Kane revealed that the dagger was part of his personal collection, which raised more red flags. Back in the maze, Phyllis ran into Nick, who was looking for Sharon. Phyllis, seemingly rattled, admitted that there were serious life-and-death issues at play. Nick was concerned, but didn't fully understand what was going on. Lily arrived and asked if Phyllis had seen Damian. Phyllis stood speechless as Kane and Chance appeared, bringing Damian's body on a stretcher. Lily demanded to see who was under the sheet, and she gasped when she saw that it was Damian. The revelation of Damian's death stunned everyone. In the recent episode of the CBS soap opera, The Young and the Restless, aired on July 15, 2025, Lily discovered Damian's dead body, shocking everyone. Kane tried to keep the investigation private and hired Chance as his personal investigator, even as doubts grew about Kane's involvement. Meanwhile, Amanda and Lily argued over Kane's motives, and Phyllis acted strangely after the incident. Devin and Abby questioned her, while Nick's vague comments added to the confusion. Kane refused to call the police, but offered Chance a large sum to investigate quietly. With evidence missing and motives unclear, the group was left shaken, especially Lily, who was heartbroken after seeing Damian's body. The Young and the Restless episode began with Amanda and Lily arguing about Kane. Amanda didn't trust Kane and thought he might do anything to get Lily back. She offered to talk to him, but her warning made Lily even more unsure about Kane's true intentions. After Damian was stabbed, Phyllis begged Kane to get help, but he said Damian was already dead. Kane explained the dagger was thrown from a distance and believed he was the real target. Phyllis doubted him, but he claimed he was innocent. They returned to the train car, looking shaken. Devin and Abby noticed and asked questions. While Kane pulled Chance aside, the others pressured Phyllis, who got overwhelmed and ran into Nick near the maze. Nick on the Young and the Restless was focused on getting back to Sharon, but saw that Phyllis was shaken. She asked what he had seen and if he was hiding something. Nick showed concern for her, remembering his earlier warning about Kane. Phyllis hinted the situation was serious, possibly life and death. Meanwhile, Devin and Abby told Amanda and Lily what happened. Since Kane had warned of danger before, they started to think the attack might be connected. Kane took Chance to where Damian's body was, but the dagger and bourbon glasses were gone. He was worried someone had already removed evidence and insisted the attack was meant for him, not Damian. Chance questioned Kane and thought his story made sense, but wanted to call the police. Kane refused and offered $500,000 for Chance to investigate privately. As the mystery grew on the Young and the Restless, Lily, still unaware of the truth, went looking for Damian. She found Phyllis with Nick and was about to learn what happened when Carter and another staff member walked by, carrying a body under a sheet. Phyllis stayed silent, and Kane's sad expression told Lily something was very wrong. Kane gently said he was sorry as Lily lifted the sheet and saw Damian's dead body. She gasped in shock, covered her mouth, and stood frozen, completely devastated. By the end of the episode, everyone was caught in a mix of lies, doubts, and grief. With the weapon gone, motives still unclear, and Kane leading the investigation, the truth about Damian's death remained a mystery. The upcoming episode of the CBS soap opera The Young and the Restless, airing on July 16, 2025, promises surprises and rising tension as the murder mystery in Nice continues. With the search for Damian Kane's killer heating up, fans can expect intense questioning, hidden secrets, and growing suspicions to take center stage. In this episode of The Young and the Restless, Nick Newman makes a shocking discovery that could change everything. At the same time, Kane Ashby refuses to call the police, which worries Amanda Sinclair. As Chance Chancellor leads the investigation, more secrets begin to come out, leaving everyone nervous about what might be uncovered next. Kane Ashby on The Young and the Restless makes things more complicated by choosing not to call the police and instead hiring Chance Chancellor as a private investigator to look into Damian's death. This decision worries Amanda Sinclair, who feels that avoiding the police makes Kane look guilty. Even though Kane explains why he's doing it, Amanda thinks it could make people believe he's hiding something. As his lawyer, she warns him about the risks, but Kane refuses to change his mind, bringing even more problems his way. Amanda on The Young and the Restless has had doubts about Kane's role in Damian's death for a while. Learning that he's paying Chance $500,000 to avoid involving the police makes her even more uneasy. Amanda suspects Kane isn't just being careful, he might be hiding the truth or protecting someone. With so much on the line, she starts to wonder if she can really believe what Kane is telling her. Meanwhile, on The Young and the Restless, Devin Winters starts trusting his gut and putting the clues together. He doesn't trust Kane, especially because of their past issues and their ongoing rivalry over Lily. From Devin's point of view, Kane had a reason to kill Damian and the chance to do it. As more signs point to Kane, and with Chance treating everyone like a suspect, Devon becomes more sure that Kane had the most to lose, and maybe the most to gain from Damian's death. Nick Newman's part in the mystery takes a big turn when he finds something important. The dagger used to kill Damian has been missing until now. Nick's discovery could prove someone's guilt or help clear an innocent person, depending on what he decides to do. Will he hand it over or hide it to protect someone he cares about? Phyllis Summers is still caught up in the mystery, but no one really knows how much she's involved. Nick might push harder to find the truth if he starts to think Phyllis is hiding something. As tensions rise and people stop trusting each other, the situation becomes even more confusing. Stay tuned as the drama heats up and more secrets come to light in this intense murder mystery.